There is a phrase, a jack of all trades is a master of none.
Yeah,
Until and unless you do not do the things, you do not make the mistakes, you cannot fail, you will not come to know which category, is your cup of tea. Who are not flexible, they are prone to stick with the same thing, do not have varieties of opportunities. The topic is what's important, being multi-talented or having one talent? What do you say? I mean, what's your thought on about it?
okay. Being multi-talented or having
Yeah.
one talent.
Now, after the COVID-19, everything has been definitely drastically changed. So we can see, I mean, we cannot say anything, like there are up downs and, I mean, upsides and downsides of everything. So
Yes, yeah.
if you choose one, then which will you will pick up, or you will go with?
Good
Is-
question. Good
yes.
question. I want to say one talent, I
Mhm.
think, because I feel like you can have lots of
When I say talent, all right, it doesn't mean you should be gifted or something like. It's something that excellency in one kind of domain.
in
Correct me?
like a more of like a skill or like
Exactly.
yeah.
So it's better to be a multitasker or or a one tasker, like having
Yes.
kind of stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I still almost go towards one talent, one task, one domain, because I feel like you can really become an expert within that. I feel like you can really push yourself to the limits of that one talent, task, thing that you do. I think multi-talented or having multiple different skills or interests, that's great. It's great, but I think it's sometimes difficult to really become so expertised in all of them. So that's why I would say I think sometimes it's better to really focus and push yourself in one pathway to become the top of that pathway. That's my answer, I think.
Well, I couldn't agree more on this. Definitely, I understand.
Yeah.
But, I beg to differ here, but I have a kind
That's
of different.
okay. Yeah, please tell me your opinion.
Especially if you are in the young phase, like in the juvenile phase, it's very much certain that you need to possess like so many skills. Why am I saying I mean, of course, I really appreciate the person who are having one kind of expertise
Yes,
in
yeah.
a domain, but to become a successful, or I have seen, because I have observed the people who are more likely to become successful, or something like a rich and prosperous person, they always tend to learn more kind of skills. When I say more kind of skills, they know how to excel in different kind of things.
Yeah,
Let's take
okay.
example. Let's take example.
Yeah.
Maybe just take a case like you have a business, all right, or you're in having one kind of things, which is something that you are being known of, all right.
Yeah.
You don't know how to represent the thing, if you don't know how to advertise the thing, how to monetize that skill.
Marketing, yeah, understood.
So that will not actually turn into that much which you actually deserve.
Okay, so yes,
Exactly.
I agree with that, but I would argue that those skills are technically coming under that branch of your domain. So for me, I think maybe I'm looking at it in a different way. So I think if, let's say, you've got your business, you've got your idea, your pathway. For me, that pathway can be really big. It doesn't necessarily just mean one skill down that pathway. I think you can have many different things that you have to do under the branch of that domain, under the branch
Exactly.
of that. So I think that's important, but I don't necessarily think that means, I think maybe what I'm looking at it is in different domains. If you're picking lots of different things to be good at, you're not necessarily going to be really good at any of them, but you can be really good.
Yeah,
at
there is a
one
phrase: a jack of
domain.
all trades is a master of none.
Yeah, exactly. So I think
Exactly.
you're really good at your one domain, but have many skills within that domain. That's what I guess what I'm saying. Yeah.
All right. I got your point. And it's definitely right. But somehow I believe, if you're having the talents, you
Yeah.
want to be a successful person. When
Yeah.
I say successful, it's, I mean, definitely it's a cutthroat competition in the market. How you
Yeah.
can be different? How you can be different? Let's take a
Yeah.
case,
What
I'm good in
needs to
studies.
come
I'm
down?
good in studies. Now you have to believe that only one talent cannot change your life completely. Of course you
For
can.
sure.
Somehow if you're exceptionally good, getting me?
Yes.
But that happens very rarely. I mean, we are all
It's
good at
true.
this at one kind of domain. But when it comes to giving something different, something uniquely,
Yeah.
you have to possess, I mean, different kind of talents. And what I say, this talent, it means simply you should be knowing how to actually, taking all the things at the same time,
Yeah.
but exactly targeting your niche sector, which you have already, being focused off. Getting
Yes,
me?
you're yeah, okay. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's fair enough
And
as well. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
and I've seen, the person who is talented in one activity, of course, that's really great, but somehow, those persons are not, I mean, at the end of the time, those persons are kind of doing job. And job means what? The same thing
Yeah.
you are actually, managing one kind of thing, okay, for
Yeah.
that sector, for that organization. But when it comes to, being a successful people start everything from the ground, from the scratch,
Mhm.
and they used to learn the skills, and do everything actually with their own level, and that's
Yeah, for
how it is.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think so.
Exactly.
I think you have to be multi-skilled, but I don't necessarily agree that you have to be multi-talented. I feel like they're two different things to me. They're two different
Well,
things.
you can definitely. That's right.
Yeah.
You can say that again, but still, in this present world, I believe everything is too easy because you have, everything. I mean, every knowledge is accessible through one click on mobile phone.
Exactly.
All
Yeah.
right,
It's
exactly.
everywhere, isn't it?
So
Yeah.
why not to acquire? I mean, you do not have to become a very expertise into everything. All right, niche should be there. But of course, you can manage everything at the same time. I mean, learning some kind of how to monetize. I mean, it's your own skill actually, and especially when you are in the juvenile phase, like when you are in your 20s,
Hmm.
it becomes very mandatory, essential to actually learn these kind of skills.
For sure,
Yes or
I
no?
think you have to. You definitely. I mean, nowadays there are certain skills, certain knowledge that you have to have, don't you, to succeed in in current day society. It's so necessary, and I think it's important, especially for people growing up in generations today, in order for them to have an education and experience of the world that interacts with all of these really
Exactly.
important skills, abilities. And I think that is definitely important, having that knowledge. But I do think it's great to have your niche, isn't it, and to be able to move forward with
Exactly.
that, and of course have all the skills that are necessary to surround that. Um, yeah, so having your multi skills, but also having your one maybe talent
No,
that
that's what I said. Nah? Like you should be having a one niche sector.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I have observed everything. I mean, some companies are overrated. Like Apple, iPhone. Like Apple are very overrated. I mean, of course, it's not something that they are giving everything. Even you can touch. You can see a little. I mean, those companies, organization who are making the mobile phones in a very low range and also giving every kind of things.
Yeah,
But here, I mean, Apple is, winning the race. Why? Because they know how to, how to give the value in a different way,
yeah.
doing something creatively, differently, and and presenting their own skill, their own marketing in a different style. And I believe that's the best thing you could do actually. So,
Yeah,
presenting everything in a different style is something that's called the talent, I believe.
yeah, for
Otherwise,
sure. They're
what's the
both.
difference
Yeah.
between just copying the things and working on the same thing? I mean, that doesn't make any sense, to be creative, to be different. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, no, of course. I mean, it's true. You have to, all of those different things have to be done in a very, very professional way in order for it to be successful. But of course, then they hire people specifically for those jobs, don't they? They hire people that are,
That's why successful people
yeah,
never do the job and kind of things. I mean, definitely they do that, but it's a kind of starting. They want to get that breakthrough, and hence they could accomplish a lot of things in their life. So
mhm.
when people start any work, they just want to learn it. It doesn't mean that they have to chase this thing for the whole life. If the
Yeah, of
person is
course not.
very
Yeah,
wanna do something really big in his life, or in her
yeah,
life, I would
yeah,
say.
yeah,
And the one who are not flexible, who are having one thing, So they are prone to stick with the same thing all the time, and they do not have varieties of opportunities.
That's true. No, that's true. I'm a big believer. I mean, I've done, I've moved around a little bit and things like that. And I think that's really important. But I think you can change your focus, can't you? You can change your pathway. Of course, throughout life, you don't have to stick to just one thing. You don't have to just focus on that one thing for the rest of your life. And of course, you can then work on your pathway in the other direction as well. But I think you can. I think you can do that. It doesn't have to all be at the same time. I think that can also.
Well, Miss, the thing is that it's easier said than done. When you get into one kind of field, the mind should automatically get created in a way that you are giving every time, round the hour, one kind of things. It's not possible then, to learn or to do any other things. There's a reason, why? Because when we have the responsibilities, of children, wife, like kind of things, then you cannot think of exploring yourself. I mean, you're just,
It becomes difficult. Yeah.
Exactly. So, in your 20s, of course, you do not understand the value of learning different kind of skills. But believe me, until and unless the life is going on, you should be, learning so many things, because 20 hours, 24 hours is sufficient, sufficient, more than sufficient. And any skill needs only 3 to 4 hours, to be creative. Otherwise, it's up to you how you're going to deal and holding up with the things. So at this present of time, because of this COVID-19, it becomes so certain, that you have to have possess all kind of skills. And most probably, you should be having one niche where you should be targeting your audience if you want to become successful in your life.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's really important. It's definitely important for people to understand that, just focusing on one thing for the rest of your life and not expanding yourself is obviously not the best way to be your better self. Yeah.
Definitely.
And that has definitely become true over COVID. So many people have ended up changing so many ideas that they had, dreams, jobs, all of these things, because life is uncertain, isn't it? Life is really uncertain.
And especially for this time, you cannot predict nothing, I mean, they're asking, they're popping that what you're going to do after 5 years. Huh? What am I going to do? Nothing, man. Even, tomorrow, what will happen, how this group, through Facebook, Instagram, they are completely changing the world for us. Do not need kind of offline institutes and coachings, completely mobile phone is definitely okay with everything. So that's why I'm saying, having the talents and adopting it is a kind of mentality that you will definitely grow exponentially.
Exponentially. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. No, I think it's right. I think, of course, I think that it's really important to be multi-skilled, for sure. I really do think that. But I think you can also have a focus, because I think sometimes it can become confusing when you don't really know what your niche is. And I think that can be problematic as well. So I think it's important to be multi-skilled.
Definitely. But until and unless you do not do the things, until unless you do not make the mistakes, you cannot fail. You will not come to know which category, or which is something that is your cup of tea. So the most important thing is to just start the things, because there is nothing great. You just have to start right away, and that's called the greatness, I believe. And how you come to know. Of course, when you just are like, when you are after 30s, you have to have one kind of thing which will, give you stability, financially support, and then you are good to go, man, with the things. I mean, if you can do, it's okay. If not, it's still okay. But never depend upon the jobs or anything, because today is the date of artificial intelligence and kind of.
Yes, which is
not the option.
Yeah, that's right. Because it was lovely to meet you today. I'm sorry we're going to run out of time, but thank you so much for a wonderful class.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. It was lovely to speak to you. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.